we're going to go ahead and open up our Supreme Hot Wheels today without ruining the cardboard card. Stay tuned. Some of you may have wondered, how can I open this up with minimal damage to the cardboard? Especially in a situation like this where it's a Supreme Hot Wheels, where the back still has some graphics on it. It's got a part of the hauler with the Supreme on there. And then we have this here, which is Supreme branded as well. You know, you just might want to keep this in good condition to get the vehicle from inside. You know, you really can't appreciate the vehicle inside unless it's out of it. It's just plain and simple. It's not really much of a display when it's in the package. You know, you want it out of the package. So this is going to work with most of your Hot Wheels of any age. I don't have a whole lot of experience doing this, but a little bit. I've messed around with it just to see, you know, what I could do. So we're gonna go ahead and attempt this today and see how we make out. All right, one of the most important and main ingredients here is gonna be acetone. Now you could use nail polish remover. It's gonna be important that you get the stuff that says 100% acetone. You don't want anything that's got a scent to it. If it's not clear, I wouldn't mess with it. I like to use these here. It's got a little pump on it, a dispenser head. I use them for other things such as paint thinner or alcohol. Whatever you do, just be sure that you have this labeled, because acetone is some pretty nasty stuff and you don't want to get this mixed up with something else. Make sure you have a prepared work area. You know, if you have a nice table that you're working over, this acetone may very well just wipe the finish right off the table, whether it's stained or it's faux or whatever it is. You know, be prepared. Make sure you have a really nice workplace. I would recommend wearing gloves and glasses as well. You know, you don't want to get this stuff in your eyes or all over you. Basically, the name of the game here is going to be to apply the acetone to this, which softens up the glue that holds this blister onto the cardboard enough to get it off. If you ever use acetone as a solvent, you know that it flashes out real quick. So if you're trying to like use it with glue, it could flash out and that glue could reactivate. Some people like to use the minimal amount of acetone. This way, they want to, they can reseal it and pretty much use the glue that's still there. You can apply heat and seal it back up. We're not going to go that route. I like to keep it completely clean. So when I'm done with it, I'm going to clean just the plastic up a little bit, maybe with Goo Gone if I need to. If I need to, I'll use a little tiny bit in Scotch just to make it a lot easier with the cleanup. And then we have some cotton pads, I guess you call these. The women use them for makeup removal, whatever. They're real sturdy. Now you can use regular cotton balls. I've used regular cotton balls before. It's not a big deal. I personally like to use these. They stay together. They're easy to work with. And then when you're all done, you may want to use a hair dryer. I have a hair dryer. It's not handy, but I have my heat gun. I don't recommend using the heat gun if you don't use these all the time. You don't have experience. You're going to end up ruining it. You have to have a good idea of what you're doing with this heat gun. So we'll go over it all together. Do you remember when I did this with the other one?
Yeah.
It was pretty easy, huh? Like, it worked pretty quick. One of the things here, this came from StockX, and it's got this sticker on there. That comes off real easy. So if you got yours from StockX, don't worry about this sticker here. I don't use any solvents or anything to get it off. It's meant to come off, but it's also, when it's meant to come off, it's meant to ruin the sticker. So as you can see, you pull it right off. Don't use any solvents on that. So what I need to do is figure out on the back the parameter of the edge. So it's only going to be, the glue is going to be in that edge there. So I know it's about here. I can kind of tell on the back it's right here. You just want to keep this acetone centralized. You really don't want to go spreading it all over. You're going to take small amounts, you're going to put it on the back. You're going to see it get wet. You're going to see it turn color maybe, which is fine. Don't worry. It might turn color, it might look like it's ruined. Not a big deal. You just want to be very, very, very careful when using this acetone, because you know what? Don't forget you have that car inside. You get this acetone on that car, it's going to strip the paint right off. So I like to go around the edge. Don't go soaking it. Don't go dripping acetone on it. I'm telling you right now, you'll be sorry. I just take a little bit, put it on the pump, and just keep going around the edge. It's going to soak into that cardboard, and at the same time, it's going to hit the glue on the other side. And it's slowly going to dissolve that glue. And it'll dissolve it enough to where I'll be able to pull this apart. So after I apply it on the back, I go around to the front, and I just feel, is it starting to release? Now here in the center, that part's not glued down. It never really is. And I kind of like to use that as a starting point. So what I might do is apply a little there, and then just don't put pressure and pull up. Remember, you're going to rip that cardboard, but just kind of, just kind of a little bit on there. Believe me, all of a sudden it's going to release. The last thing you want to do is push it too early and rip the cardboard after doing all this work. See, I hit the edge and that soaks that right in. You can see how it's soaked. You got to get it. You got to be super, 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 super careful. If you don't smear it, it's not going to smear the ink. I've already touched it up top here, or I made a mistake and I wiped it and it took it right off. So you want to be careful you don't rub with the cotton ball, you just soak. Both sides of this cardboard are glossy, and it just makes it that much harder because the acetone doesn't want to soak through the gloss. And you don't want to rush this. You don't want to rush trying to separate that, because then it pulls the cardboard face right up. Sometimes you could sneak some paper in there. That helps get rid of the excess glue, helps separate it. Not at that point yet. It's weird because this will just, like, all of a sudden it'll just separate. It'll just start raising up. Just wait till that point when it glues nice and soft. Definitely the more patience you have with this project, much better it's going to come out. The odds are you'll probably pull a little bit of paper, especially if you've never done this before. There we go. Careful of that. Now this is still wet, so we'll put that aside to dry. I had actually dripped acetone on it accidentally. Like I said, the more careful you are, the better. The more patience you have, the better. That right there could all be avoided if I was a little bit more careful. Patience. So we'll set this aside to dry. This here has a bunch of glue on it. We'll set that aside to dry. But basically what we have here now is a piece of cardboard that just looks way better than if you were to rip it off. And that's the whole point. I mean, look, I'm not showing you guys how to open this up and take out the real one and put the fake one in or anything like that. It's just for display purposes, that's all. All right, we were able to release the blister from the cardboard. Now this isn't the best example ever of a cardboard detached from the blister without damaging it. I'll tell you a couple mistakes I made so maybe you can avoid them. The very first one would be rubbing the cardboard at all. So in any areas of color, if you were to rub it, it might leave a mark. I did do that right here. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Also here, you'll see that stain. This right here is the glue from around here. I used way too much acetone, and I told you guys don't use it. You know, I didn't heed my own advice, and you could just see what happened. You know, this is gonna look as good as the amount of attention and time you put into it when you take it off, plain and simple. This part here, not too bad. It's got a little tiny bit of glue. Only in a couple spots did the paper stick. Now if the paper stuck like that, what you can do when you put it back on, you can line it up exactly and you'll never notice. You'll never notice there's any problem at all. Even some marks on it like this. It depends, you know, where it's at, but you gotta think about it. Something's gonna be on top of it. You probably won't notice. Are you gonna be putting this back together? Probably not. It's just for display purposes. What you can do, what I like to do sometimes is keep this. So now the vehicles, well, it's two vehicles in this situation. It's the Supreme Carrier and the Supreme car. They're out of the case now. I can display these however I like. I was thinking about maybe taking one of the crystals and putting it on the crystal and displaying it like that. It's, you know, it's up to you, whatever you want. And then now that it's out, I can actually take this and I can glue it back together, and this can be part of the display. I can have it off to the side, or maybe you made a shadow box and you know you could put it in the shadow box with the car in front of it as a display. I'm sure if you use your imagination you could do something great with this. It's just showing you what you could do. This is probably the most difficult one you'll ever have to do. Basically because each side's got like shiny finish side to it. It's really hard for the acetone to soak in. I had much better luck when I soaked in the acetone from the edges around here and just did that. It's not going to release unless it's wet, so you got to make sure you can see where the acetone soaked in the cardboard and it's wet, and you know, you should be all right. You might not get it the first shot. Maybe you want to try on a different car. You got to remember these things are only 99 cents when you buy like just your basic regular Hot Wheels. Buy a couple of those and try it out. They go really fast and really easy. Just because the back of them is regular brown cardboard, the acetone soaks right in and you won't ever have a problem releasing those. You can release those and make them look like they're brand new. Unfortunately, there's a lot of dishonest people out there, and there are people that do that, and they'll come up with like, oh, look at this error, and it might be the car without tampos, which is really easy to do. We could take the Supreme off right now and have just an all red car, put it back in there and say it was an error. You know, we could have this thing looking brand new if we take our time. And who knows what you could sell it for. Somebody would be, oh my God, an error. Don't ever fall for them. If you see them on eBay and you see that it's something wrong with the vehicle, or maybe the wheels are off of it, or there's all sorts of errors. Listen, just don't fall for it. The odds are the pack's been open. I've seen some really good jobs before. I just want to mess with it. I don't think it's a good idea. You can create your own errors. But that's about it. One last thing is, how could you actually glue this back together and make it look okay? Well, we have some E6000 right here, and E6000 is used for a wide variety of things. Pretty much anything you can think of. Real thin, small paintbrush. Little tiny paintbrush. You can paint some of this on there. You want to use a super thin coating, you know, just on the edge. If you're good, you know, with your hand, you have a good eye, and you can put a nice thin coating on there. You'll be fine. You'll be able to put that right on there. Maybe devise something so it puts weight around the whole edge, and you know, just let it sit. You know, put some weight on it, clamp it, whatever you come up with. You guys are smart. And there you go. You have this all boxed up, looking cool. If anything, it might be a conversation piece. People are gonna be like, "How did you get the car out of there like that?" You know, hey, you to know, you to find out. Just don't forget, you can learn anything on YouTube. That's all we have for tonight. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good whatever it is, wherever you guys are at. And we'll see you on the next video.